Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. As you can see, I have a new setup and we're going to be doing videos a little bit differently right now. I'm going to be doing my 2024 election analysis just really quick. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And so right now, we see that the election results in 2020 were actually pretty competitive. They were pretty close. Back then, we see states like Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada are pretty competitive. But when we look at the current electoral college map that me and Gold Crown Politics have essentially made a consensus agreement on, we see Donald Trump essentially mopping the floor with Joe Biden. Now, I'm not going to be doing the basically categories for this video. I'm going to kind of just be looking at states that we essentially believe are in the competitive category per se. And so we look at this kind of expanded battleground map. This is essentially an expanded battleground map for the election. You could even put a state like New Jersey in this column. To be completely honest, states like Georgia and North Carolina are completely gone for Biden. These states have a large African American population, especially Atlanta in the state of Georgia. And so I really doubt that with Biden hemorrhaging as much support as he is in national polling data with African Americans, he's going to be able to hold on to Georgia or even improve in a state like North Carolina. You also see that Donald Trump is supposedly going to poll slightly better than he did with the white vote just a couple years back. So that's also going to be interesting to see. And so these two states, I think, are completely out of the category of competitive. I even think a state like Nevada is even out of that category because the state of Nevada, we see a large Hispanic population. Donald Trump has also been gaining with that population by a pretty substantial amount the past year or so, year and a half in polling data. And the state of Nevada has a very large Hispanic population in the county of Clark, which is a very big populated area where a lot of the votes come from in the state. And so if Donald Trump basically gets the margin within, 5 points in that county, he effectively wins the state of Nevada as of right now. So that's also very interesting to note in that state. So I think that more than likely he's got that in his column. Arizona, we see a large Hispanic population in Maricopa and many other places there. And even though, yes, this is a liberal trending state per se, I really don't think that there's going to be a hard time for Trump to win this, considering that he's leading the national average by 2 points. He's just completely going out there and making big moves. Even there was actually a poll from SoCal Research, who we're actually doing a national poll with very soon. We actually see in Arizona, he did a poll with Red Eagle Politics, and they actually found that Trump is leading in Maricopa County by 5, but Kerry Lake is losing by 5 in Maricopa County. And so that's very interesting to note because if Donald Trump is winning Maricopa by 5 points, he will more than likely win the state by over 5 percentage points. Because if you look at Election Shuffler and you do the math, if you shift that one county all the way to the right like that by 5 points, he goes from losing the state by like a till margin to winning it by almost 5. And that's only moving that one county to the complete right, and by that margin by R+5 essentially. And so the chance of him winning by over 5 points, which right now I have him winning by about 6 or 7, that seems pretty realistic if he's getting a margin similar to that in Maricopa County. And so that's going to be in that column as well. Now, a lot of the states up here are basically within the margin of error in polling. New Mexico and New Jersey are the only states on here that are not within margin of error. However, more than likely, I think New Jersey probably goes Democrat. This is a very liberal state. And I also think New York, Illinois, Colorado are going to be closer, but I don't think they're going to be in that competitive range. The only one that could actually surprise people is New York, because New York, that state, was only a 23-point victory for Biden last time around. And that state had a really bad overestimation of Biden in the polls. Biden was actually ahead by a little bit over 30 in the polling aggregate, and Biden actually only won the state by 23. So that was like a 6-point polling miss. And the current aggregate in New York actually has the state as a 7.5-point victory for Biden. And so if that same polling error occurs in New York, we could actually see the state get under 5 and possibly be within 2 or 3 points, which would be absolutely insane. But I don't really see Donald Trump having a path there exactly yet. So that's going to be interesting to note. The Rust Belt, I think Trump gets the Rust Belt right now. I don't really see a problem with him getting it. I think they were just too close of margins for Biden to hold on. And Biden has actually fallen in approval rating. Donald Trump actually went up from a 37% approval rating to about a 45, 46% approval rating on election day. So that's the thing. You really can. It's completely different because Trump just went up in approval rating. Biden was just way more popular than Hillary. Now Trump went down like 3 points in favorability, but Biden's gone down like 12 points. He's lost a lot of his support compared to Trump losing a lot of his. And arguably, the polls may actually underestimate Trump's performance because there is a large group of people who find Donald Trump not favorable, but still approve of his job as president. And so you may see a large discrepancy with that as of right now. And so, especially in places like the Rust Belt, the president of Teamsters is supposed to be at the RNC, at some point in July. And so that's going to be interesting as well to see something like that. And so I think the Rust Belt right now goes to Donald Trump. The polling is pretty competitive. Last time, the polling wasn't even close. Biden was beating him by a landslide, and Biden didn't even win Michigan by over 3 percentage points. Pennsylvania was only a point, and Wisconsin was almost a point victory for Biden. And so I really can't see how Donald Trump ends up losing any of these states as of right now. Now, the national aggregate, technically, according to my analysis, has gotten a little bit closer. So states like Maine and New Hampshire, I'm not really certain about those going into the Republican column. I think these are going to stay in the Democrat column. I also think New Mexico probably goes blue right now just because of the fact that we do see a large, white liberal population in the state of New Mexico. And so that is definitely where we're going to be seeing that. I mean, it could go either way, but I'm kind of basing this off of my popular vote estimation, which is around Trump plus 5, essentially. Me and Gold Crown Politics in the last video were working around a plus 6.8 environment, so that's why we had New Mexico going red. Now, there is a shot it could go red. It really could go either way. So more than likely, I think Nebraska's second could go in that Republican column somewhat easily. Not super big, but definitely within that column. And so that really leaves 3 states that are actually really up for grabs. And I actually think Trump is the slight favorite to win Minnesota. The primary data is looking really bad for Biden there. Biden only got 71% of the vote in the primary. Trump got around 69%. And Trump's not even the incumbent president. He almost got a higher vote share than Biden did in this state, which is typically a Democrat state that hasn't voted Republican since the 70s. So that is a really bad performance and sign for Biden there. And Trump actually is leading polling data according to Emerson College, not even Republican internals. He's actually leading an Emerson College poll in Minnesota. And as we get more data, I'll have a clearer picture, but I really do believe that Trump is the favorite to win Minnesota. Now, New Mexico and Virginia are a little bit more iffy. I'd say today Trump probably does narrowly take that state, and maybe Trump even gets New Mexico because there is a very large Hispanic population in the state of New Mexico. And so I think if Donald Trump is going to be winning states like Texas and Florida by over 15 points, that's going to have to carry over to New Mexico by a certain amount. I expect Biden to probably win Colorado by around 6 or 7 points. So Donald Trump winning it by a tilt margin would make sense. And Virginia, Donald Trump is actually setting up field offices in Minnesota and Virginia. And so we are seeing that Donald Trump is really going out there and trying to go to these states because the campaign knows that they're actually competitive, but the media doesn't talk about these states actually being competitive because they don't want to scare their liberal base into being like, oh my God, what's going on here? But it reflects in polling data. Why are the polling averages here way closer than, usual when these states are supposedly deep blue states? When last time Biden was leading the aggregate by 12, he won by 10, and now Biden only leads the aggregate by like 2 points on RCP, and he's actually underwater in the aggregate on decision desk. He's down by 0.2%. And Minnesota, Biden's up like 2 point something in the RCP aggregate and like 1 point in the 538 aggregate, but he was leading there in Minnesota by like almost 9 or 10 points. He was leading there by like 9 to 10 points on election day and only won by 7. So there is a room of possibility for those states to go red. And I think as of right now, based on Biden's approval rating, he probably does pick these off, and even a state like New Mexico. And so as of right now, I kind of see the race being at 341 to 197. I will do a more detailed breakdown analysis of this, but this was kind of a quick video to kind of show where I stand as of right now. So make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you are new and you want more content just like this. And I will see you guys in the next video.